Okay, so picture this. A special court, one with a single massive job, to be the ultimate guardian of India's environment. That was the whole idea, the big vision behind the National Green Tribunal, or the NGT. But now, more than a decade later, a pretty troubling question is starting to bubble up. Is this environmental watchdog losing its bite right when we need it the most? Let's dig in. And that really brings us to the heart of the matter for this explainer, as our environmental challenges get more and more complex. I mean, literally by the day. Is India's most important green court actually losing the one thing that was supposed to make it so powerful, its scientific edge? So to really get to the bottom of this, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the NGT's original promise, what it was meant to be. Then we'll look at its recent track record, and from there, we'll unpack this worrying expertise deficit. We'll see why this is so critical in the face of climate change, and finally, we'll talk about what it would take to strengthen this watchdog. Right. So to really understand what might be going wrong today, we have to first appreciate just how brilliant the idea behind the NGT was in the first place. Let's go back to its creation. The big idea here was that the NGT wouldn't just be another court, totally bogged down in complicated legal jargon. No, it was designed to be a hybrid powerhouse. It was meant to combine the raw authority of judges with the deep knowledge of scientists and environmental experts. This blend of law and science was supposed to finally give environmental protection in India some real teeth. So that was the powerful vision. A great idea on paper, but how has it actually played out in reality? Well, when we start looking at the NGT's actual track record, the picture gets a lot murkier. As the Indian Express put it so well, the tribunal's record is, quote, at best, mixed. And to be fair, that's true. The NGT has had some huge wins, don't get me wrong. It's stepped in to stop illegal sand mining and has tackled river pollution with some really solid, science-backed orders. But that's just not the whole story. And this is where the alarm bells really start to ring. An investigation into big infrastructure projects that came before the NGT between 2020 and 2024 found something pretty startling. A staggering 4 out of 5 rulings actually went in favor of the project developers. Now, the government says, hey, this is just based on the merits of each case. But critics, they see a deeply worrying trend. So what on earth could be causing this? Well, this leads us to a really critical clue, a potential deficit in expertise. It seems like the NGT might be falling short of its original, powerful vision because it's missing a key ingredient. Let's break that down. Just look at this statistic. It's pretty stunning. Of all the expert members appointed to the tribunal since 2016, the vast majority, we're talking nearly 70%, were former senior officials from the Environment Ministry. Yes, the very same ministry whose decisions the NGT is supposed to be independently reviewing. I mean, this creates a massive and pretty obvious conflict of interest, right? How can a watchdog be truly independent when it's staffed by people who used to work for the very organization it's supposed to be watching? It just fundamentally undermines the tribunal's credibility and its whole ability to provide unbiased oversight. And the problem isn't just who is on the tribunal, but also who's missing. The law actually allows for up to 20 expert members, but guess what? Those seats are often just empty. And the experts who are appointed are mostly former administrators. So where are the independent scientists to check the data, the economists to weigh the real costs and benefits, the urban planners who understand how all this affects our cities? They're simply not there. Now look, this lack of diverse expertise would be a problem at any time, but it becomes a full-blown crisis when you factor in the single biggest challenge of our generation, climate change. Just think about it for a second. The environmental problems of 2010 are not today's problems. Climate change has completely rewritten the rulebook, adding these incredible new layers of complexity to absolutely everything, from planning a new highway to protecting a fragile coastal area. So what this means is the NGT can't just be a referee anymore, calling fouls after the damage is already done. It needs to be a strategist. It needs to be looking ahead, assessing future climate risks, and guiding India's adaptation. But to do that, it needs that brilliant team of diverse experts, the very team it currently doesn't have. Okay, so the problem is clear. The stakes are incredibly high, but it's not unsolvable. So what would it actually take to strengthen this watchdog and get it ready for the challenges that are already on our doorstep? The path forward is actually pretty straightforward. Step 1, just fill the empty seats. Appoint all the expert members the law calls for. Step 2, Diversify. Let's stop appointing only former bureaucrats and bring in a real mix of top-notch scientists, economists, and engineers. And step 3, empower them. Give this new diverse panel the real authority to scrutinize and challenge the claims made by both the government and large corporations. So, this is where we're left. The NGT was a brilliant idea, a court literally designed for our planet's future. But it feels like it's getting stuck in the past. The road to fixing it is clear, but the clock is ticking. The real question isn't how we can reform the NGT, but whether it can be done in time to face a climate crisis that's no longer on the horizon. It's already here.